Hi everyone, Russell here again. Today I'm going to be installing these high clearance A arms for the front of my Talon. These are supposed to add about 3.5 inches. You can kind of see 3.5 inches of ground clearance and approximately double the strength of the factory A arm. So we'll go ahead and put those on. Next I'll be installing the shock reservoir caps. You can see I twisted the one out there. One of my shocks, my rear driver's side is slowly leaked off. So these are for the Fox Podium 2.5. I'm just gonna go ahead and drill out, drain the air out of these, put the new cap in, and then fill them up with about 200 PSI of nitrogen. And then we have the rear radius arms, or Honda calls control arms. These do only come in raw aluminum, but I opted to go ahead and have them powder coated to match up just so they don't stand out. And plus, if you get any kind of winter de-icing chemical or salt on raw aluminum, I mean, it really kind of causes some problems, and then you constantly have to polish them. So I just want them to blend in and kind of have a lower maintenance. So today I'll just kind of walk you through the install procedures on these three items. All right, so the kit comes with new bushings. So we're gonna take those apart and put them into 3 pieces like this. And gonna notice there's an O-ring on each side. So that O-ring is going to face the outside. And before we assemble this, we're going to put some grease there on the inside. And when I had these powder coated, I had to make sure that they didn't get any on the inside so it didn't mess up the bushing fitting. So you'll see there's a lip. So we're basically, with the O-ring out, we're gonna tap both of those in with the rubber mallet after they're lubed up inside and out. And then put the other side in, and then tap that back in as well to where we have a finished product like that. All right, so to get this A-arm out, you take off the 17mm nut and remove the bolt. Same here on the front side of the lower A-arm. Once you get down to the ball joint here, you're going to have to remove the cotter pin and then the 19mm nut. If you don't have a separator, what you can do is just kind of pry between the A-arm and the knuckle here. Pry a little bit and give a couple taps with the hammer on the bottom of the A-arm there, and it'll just pop right out. All right, so we have the ball joint tightened back down, cotter pin put back in. We have the shock 17mm tightened down, 17mm bolt there, tightened down, that one tightened down, and the top part of the shock tightened down. All right, so I have everything put back together. I drove a few miles to settle the suspension. So keep in mind, we do have 200 pounds of nitrogen in the shocks now. But here's the difference. And L&B is claiming 3.5 inches of extra ground clearance. So that's what it looks like put back together. One side high clearance, one side factory. All right, so what we're going to do here to remove the rear control arms or radius arms is loosen up this 17, and these two as well. Once those are loose, we can just slide them right off and then put the high clearance ones back on. And then I've already removed the rear shock. So same thing, 17 bolt there on the top, 17 bolts here on the bottom. I'll take it out and then we'll drill the bottom out here in a second. All right, so we're working on the passenger side. All right, the bigger size hole is going to go to the outside. This is going to go to the inside, so back into there. All right, these bushings, so these bushings right here are going to go in like that on both sides, slide into place, and these are going to go on this end on both sides. All right, same thing with the lower one on the outside with the bigger diameter hole. You're going to put this bushing on both sides, and then the other bushing that goes in between there on both sides. And then once you get it into place, that's what it's going to look like. All right, here's everything from the rear with one side complete. You can see driver's side there is all factory. And the passenger side is the high clearance put back into place. I'm really glad I powder coated everything red. I think it goes together nicely. All right, for the front shocks, just underneath the hood here, you'll have a 17mm bolt as well to take out. As you can see, I already took out the driver's side, and then 17 as well there. So just have to jack it up, take the tires off, and then remove that. All right, so what we're gonna do, take a 3/36 drill bit and just drill right there in the center through there to release the pressure so we can get this old cap off and the new one on. Once all the pressure is drained out, I gently tapped it with the rubber mallet back in just a little bit so I can get those retaining clips out. And you can kind of see it right there. All right, so I got that retaining ring out. Got the old cap out. Once I pulled the old cap, got everything clean to make sure there's no debris in it. We'll put this one back in, clean this up, put a little assembly lube on that O-ring, slide it back into place, and then put that retaining clip on it. All right, so I just pushed that back in gently by hand. As you can see, the retaining ring's back in there. And now it's ready for 200 pounds of nitrogen.
So we got the tool just attaching it. Make sure it's nice and tight. Centerpiece actually depresses the inner valve core. Air tank.
So we're going for 200 PSI here of nitrogen.
Yep. Let's begin.
All right, so we need to put all these back on the bottom of the reservoir cap. As you can see, there's kind of an O-ring. It's gonna keep all of the junk out of there. And then we're going to use a 16mm wrench just to kind of snug those up on all four corners.